everyone. We are live on Facebook, and I welcome Mr. Sharma, who is a young and bright entrepreneur. And we would be beginning the webinar on entrepreneurship with a simple question that all the young students today we have with us. Um, so, Samir, I would like to, start the introduction because, I have a more audience that have joined in. The students of CIS have joined in. So today we have with us Mr. Samir Sharma, who is the founder of Shoutlow and Uengage. Mr. Samir has also worked with Paytm and is the co-founder of TryDeal. And fortunately, he is also an alumni of Chitkara University. Hi, Samir, and welcome to the Biz Buzz of Change the Game.
Hi, Anushi. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you for taking out time from your busy schedule, Samir. So, Samir, today we have with us, the audience is a young audience and, the future, the youth of India, the students of grade 9 to 12 of Chitkara International School. And I'm sure, they're very inquisitive and they have one simple question that is buzzing in their mind. What is entrepreneurship? Can you share your views on what is entrepreneurship? How would you define entrepreneurship?
So, of course, it's a buzzword and everyone has their own definition, right? So the way I see it is, entrepreneurship is something that, you are trying to, achieve certain goals through some innovative mechanisms, right? That may or may not lead to some good, profit-making business, right? And, so at times we always perceive that it's just about business, but that's not necessary the way I see it. So it's more about, finding some idea. It's more about, finding a problem and then trying to, find a solution around it, which can be, probably adopted by masses.
Right. So basically, it's idea generation and thinking of a new idea, which definitely, comes from the need, that is the need of the hour. Maybe, you're not getting something and then you think that, oh, I'll look for a solution so that, I can solve this problem. Definitely, All right, Samir. So another question that comes from the previous one is, what is the difference between entrepreneur and business? Are they same or are they different?
Okay, so entrepreneurship and business, like I said, some of the business may or may not lead up to being a business. But yes, so there's a funny, correlation the way I see it. At times, the way I see it is that, business is a, subset of entrepreneurship, because that's more like an outcome of, some initial entrepreneur idea, right? But on the other way around, so you can say that, because entrepreneurship or a startup is the initial phase of a business. So you can always say there's a subset of business as well. But yes, primarily, the major difference is when you talk about entrepreneurship, you are mostly talking about ideas which have not moved the market. Okay. So you're trying to get a market or you're trying to create a unique solution about an existing problem, right? But when you talk about the business, so generally we need that the idea has been proven. Now we have a go-to-market strategy. We're trying to build that business into something bigger, right? So so that's a major difference. So in entrepreneurship, you keep on thriving to improvise around it. In case of a business, the idea is proven. There is a definitive goal which can be achieved because the basics are all in place. That's how I perceive it.
Right. Interesting. Very interesting. All right. Another question that we have is, what makes an entrepreneur? What are the main ingredients of an entrepreneur?
Ingredients. I think we should be human. That's it.
What is the recipe of making an entrepreneur? Because I'm sure that, the young students who are watching us, most of them have something in mind that I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to be a businessman. But so if you can just throw some insight on how to be an entrepreneur.
Okay, so I would say there is no definite template that, that there's no syllabus that you can follow to be an entrepreneur. Okay, so the initial entrepreneurship bug or jisko keeda bhi kehte hain, so that really happens from your surroundings. So because if you talk about any of the successful ideas, so all those ideas have originated from your own surroundings, your own experiences, your own day-to-day, behavior, the pain points that you see around yourself, right? So
Right.
the initial point or the initial trigger will always come from those experiences, right? And everyone comes from a different walk of life, right? So you have a different walk of life. I have a different walk of life. The way probably I have met certain people during that journey, the way
Mm-hmm.
probably I have perceived or seen some of the problems on that journey is totally different the way you have seen it, right? So it
Right.
depends a lot on your experiences, throughout, starting from your childhood to your school, your college, probably your first job, So I think there is no definitely one single formula or masala that we
Mm-hmm.
can say, that we follow this syllabus and we can become an entrepreneur, right? But
Yeah.
definitely, if really have to jot down some of the key traits, so I have been able to figure out people, who can empathize, right?
Mm-hmm.
As human beings, they have been able to figure out, problems. At least they have been able to relate to the problems and come
Mm-hmm.
up with very innovative solutions, right?
Right.
And otherwise, I would always say that try to become a businessman rather than being an entrepreneur, because like I said earlier, business is something which is already proven in the market, right? If I have to start a Kiryana shop, right, so I can't call it an entrepreneurship at this point of time. The business model is already proven. There is a demand supply, right? So saman ana hai, there's a consumer, right? But if you really want to be an entrepreneur, right, so I would say try to empathize with the problem. Try to empathize with those users. That's very important, right? Other key
Right.
traits can be which can be developed over time. Is of course a bit of mathematics always helps. Not of course the sine cos theta,
Mm-hmm.
but of course the basics of economics, the basics of mathematics. Third, storytelling for sure. So that is something I have personally lacked a lot in initial years of my career. I still
Interesting.
feel, yeah, I still
Interesting.
feel that
Yeah.
I still lack in that, but I've been trying to catch up with that particular aspect, because at times even if you have an idea and
Mm-hmm.
you're not able to articulate it, you're not able to
Right.
notice it, right? So it's not helpful, right? So you probably end up being frustrated that ये idea मैंने सोचा था 5 साल पहले, right?
Right.
But मैं
Right.
उसको showcase नहीं कर पाया, right? So
Yeah.
few things, of course, I would say try to empathize with the users. So
Mm-hmm.
I especially saying empathize, not sympathize. Okay, you have to
Empathize. So
understand.
emotionally.
Yes,
Right.
you have to understand, your users, right?
Right.
Mathematically or economically, you have to understand the numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And three, of course, like I said, you have to be a good storyteller. Otherwise, because it's a big competitive world out there, right? So even if you have a great idea and you're not able to have a right platform or right
Mm.
story to showcase it, it's not going to help you.
So you have to be a storyteller to be an entrepreneurship. That's the lesson that we've learned today. So all the audience who are watching us, yes, you please brush up your storytelling skills for all the ideas that are buzzing in your mind. Great, Sameer. So the next question that we have is that everybody knows that there's a global suffering because of pandemic that is going on. So what are the challenges that an entrepreneur has to face during this time?
Okay, so this is an interesting one. I have been talking to a lot of people about it, a lot of entrepreneurs, and I would say this is very, of course, we all know these are very unfortunate times, right?
Yeah.
And again, I would not judge anyone during those times about their business acumen or about their, I would say business intelligence during these times. The example would be make my trip, right?
Hmm.
So, as an entrepreneur, I have really looked up to that startup for last 2 decades, right? So that is one of the very earliest startups from India who's listed at multiple stock exchanges, right?
Right.
But during
Yeah.
those times they are totally crashed, right? Because the industry is crashed, nobody's going to travel, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to be taking flights very soon or very
Absolutely.
easily, right? So
Hmm.
I can't blame them, right? So they have been doing all their things in a right way for 20 long years. Okay.
Right.
So times are difficult, but again, the reason I'm giving this example is in our particular business, we have two ventures. One
Hmm.
is more of a B2C venture, second is more of a technology venture. The B2C venture is badly impacted because we were also dependent on restaurants, salons, and spa, which have
Right.
been locked down, right?
Hmm.
But on other hand, it was balanced by a technology venture where we create, technology and delivery solutions for brands, right?
Right.
So we have worked with Government of Punjab, so we built a complete ground up solution for essential deliveries across Punjab, all the districts, right? And we were able to achieve that within 48 hours.
Great.
Back in April when there was
Curfew and all.
yeah, there was
Yeah.
really quiet, right?
Hmm.
So it got balanced out, So, but again, I can't claim the glory of that I have been smart and that's why we are able to sustain. That's a give an example. Make my trip as well. These are very difficult times, So it just happened. The adversity has just knocked on our door. We can't for it. We have to embrace the fact that there is a problem, right?
Yeah, nobody was prepared for this kind of a
Nobody is
thing.
prepared. The whole generation has not seen it, right?
Yeah.
The under years of India has not seen it or the world, right?
Right.
So, from entrepreneurs' perspective, yes, the vertical to vertical things have impacted. Travel, tourism, hospitality,
Right.
all those sectors
Right.
are badly impacted, right? And I feel bad about all the employees. I feel bad about all those founders. At times, people see that a founder is having a very cushy job or very comfortable job. He will
Yeah.
be earning a lot of money. But at this point of time, I really feel bad about those founders because they have to fire a lot of people. They have to
Yeah.
let go of those people. They can't
Right.
afford it, right? And you can't blame the founders for that. And but hopefully, things will be better soon. And all the startups, all the entrepreneurs, they have been trying to improvise around this situation. A lot of people have been pivoting to new verticals, right? A lot of startups have been trying to sell new things. So for example, brands like Domino's have started selling grocery now, right? So you have to
Yes.
provide.
Yes. I heard that. Yeah.
One big lesson that has been passed on to everyone, I would say, be an entrepreneur or no, right? So the improvisation is the key, right? So we have to keep improvising. We can't take anything as guaranteed, right? So these are not the times. So I would say, being in this generation, I feel lucky about it that last few years we have to kept on improvising. So this has not been, I would say, a super tough times for the improvisation. Of course, the journey is tough, but I would say whosoever is going to start in coming years, right? So please be ready to be improvising all the time during the journey, right? You can't be rigid anymore. That if I make my trip, that I'll always keep on doing something which I've been doing for 20 years, right?
Right.
Domino's has been selling pizza for decades, and now they're open to sell grocery. Why not me? Why not other entrepreneurs? Right.
Right.
So another major lesson is try to have multiple revenue streams, right? So which is something which has saved us, which saved a lot of the brands, right? So multiple revenue streams, one, and two, be ready to improvise. You can't be rigid about your ideas, you can't be rigid about the times.
So that means that you're suggesting that people should have multiple businesses or multiple ideas at the same time.
You can have multiple revenue streams with same
Revenue.
idea.
Right, right. And Sameer, what's your take on the revival of this situation? How long do you think that it'll take? Though it's a very specific question, and I'm sure that it's an unpredictable situation. But still, we would like to know what's your take on it.
I think first of all, it's very hyperlocal kind of thing.
Right.
Every place revives its own time. Look at New Zealand. New Zealand recently declared there are
Pandemic free. Yeah.
Right? But it's 50 lakhs population, right? India is a
Right.
huge country,
Yeah.
diverse. Look at
Yeah.
Mumbai, look at Delhi, right? So post independence, everyone has been trying to get into those four metro cities, with Mumbai and Delhi on top of the list, right? So India is complex, but the way government has handled the whole situation, I am really, I have become a big fan of them, because
I think the entire country is a big fan now.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So, and again, I think local administration, from the chief ministers to the local MLAs, the local MC offices, so they will have to take an eventual call. So it's a very subjective and open-ended question, right? So government has done their part by marking red zone or yellow zone or orange zone or red,
Right.
So if we keep on following it in a healthy way, And I think for at least a year to come, this is going to be the new normal. That you will have to embrace it. You just have to on
it's the
pay
new normal,
and
that's what we hear.
yeah, it's yeah. So
Yeah.
you have to improvise around this new normal now.
Right. Right. So let's not get political about it now. And let's move to the next question. What is a startup? We hear so much about there's a new startup, government is providing help to the startup. What is a startup?
Startup, again, I'll come to the same definition we spoke about, in terms of entrepreneurship. So startups are again, you can say the initial stage of a probably bigger business, right? So a startup or an entity or any action is called a startup when you're just about to start and you are, a small bunch of team, right? 2, 3 people. And
Right.
on day one, you have no clarity that will that be converted into a full-fledged or a profitable business. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, so you pick up a pain point, you try to find a solution around it, try to build audience around it, so that is a basic definition of a startup, right? In legal
Right.
terms, of course, government has given out some mandate that if you follow or if you have these kind of criteria that you will be a deemed startup, you are an
Okay.
approved startup by government of India.
All right. So, coming to the same point, when we talk about a startup, OYO being a startup, we still address it as a startup, although it's a big entity now.
Yeah.
So, does
Two,
it still count to be a startup?
two aspects around it. Yeah, it's an interesting one. You picked a very interesting name. So
Yeah.
OYO, from I would say the number of years definition, we can still call it a startup, right? Secondly, if I talk about their profitability factors, still I can call it a startup, right?
Okay.
But if I talk about the kind of money they have raised,
Hmm.
so as per Indian legal system, no, they are not a startup, right?
They're not a startup. Okay.
Legally, they are not a startup anymore because the kind of money they have raised. So the legal definition says, if you raised X amount and if you have X revenue in your books, then you can't be called a startup. So from that perspective, you can't call it. But yes, OYO has been a poster boy of the Indian startup ecosystem, and I think all entrepreneurs like me are very proud of Ritesh Agarwal and OYO, and
Right.
we would like to keep on calling them startup to probably have a very optimistic environment around it. But legally, no longer they can't be called a startup.
Okay. All right. So I think that's cleared the doubt for many of our audience and the students. Sami, the next question that I would like to ask you is, how would you showcase a new business idea? Like supposing, a child or a youngster has a new business idea. How would you showcase that idea?
Okay, so again, I think it depends a lot on your own personal journey, the kind of network you are able to connect, the kind of platform you are able to patch into. If I have to talk about from a school student's perspective, right? So
Right.
I am very happy to see that all schools, especially Chitkara, because I have seen a lot of CTG session in the past and other sessions in the past, that how
Right.
Chitkara has been instrumental and very forward thinking to
Yeah.
encourage the students to come up with startup ideas, right? That
Yes.
is very important. Like I said earlier, even if I have a great idea and I don't have a platform to showcase it, I'll always remain a grudge in my mind. I'll always just, build up like, ye idea maine socha tha, ye
Right.
kar sakta
Right.
tha, right? So schools have a big role to play here.
Hmm.
Same, your colleges have a big role to play here. Then
Right.
probably, some local venture capitalists or some local startup groups have a big role to play here, right? So all of the students, I would request that try to find out these factors. I'm pretty sure your school would be having some kind of program, right?
Right.
Try and start participating over there, right? And don't shy away from losing over there because end of the day, of course, if there is a competition, there can be only one winner or probably three winners, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, but taking that baby step is very important, right? So I'm
Yes.
again reiterating, I really missed and I really lagged that storytelling part in my initial career because I did not have any platform, right?
Right.
So I straight away went for a job, then came back. Then fortunately, I got a platform within Chitkara. But I would say, school kids, you're really lucky that your school is thinking about it. leverage it, exploit it. Okay. So yeah, showcase as much as possible, and don't worry about those failures. Even if it is stupidest of the ideas, please showcase it.
Put it forth.
It's the kind of experience that you're going to get in these years that is going to go a long way.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I would also suggest from my side personally that there are a lot of competitions that, that are ongoing, and schools organize regarding, thinking of a startup idea, thinking of a new idea wherein, you can deliver a concept. So I think students must participate in it without the fear of having any failure or anything like that.
Yeah. And adding to that, look at it this perspective that, schools are very overly supportive now, So
Yes.
वो ऐसा pressure नहीं है कि okay, आपको अब आपके exams and you talk about an idea.
Right.
You have to be very active about it, right?
Yes,
So
I think the focus is, I mean, I would say that it has spread towards curricular and co-curricular, because co-curricular is playing as much an important role as a curricular activity.
Yes,
So,
yes. And I think any school would be super proud, if any of their kids are able to actually have some kind of practical application of what their kids have been learning over years.
Absolutely. And today's generation, I see so many students that, they're full of ideas and creativity, and they're creating apps to solve problems. It's overwhelming to see all that.
Yes. I'm not, kind of shying away from saying it. Whenever I come to Chitkara school, I come out with more learning. So I have seen the kind of confidence which students are showcasing. And
it's a big compliment coming from you, Samir. Yes.
So I really mean it. And I have been learning a lot of new ideas while coming over there. I have been learning a lot about how kids are able to, showcase it in such a awesome way with amazing PPTs.
And I think it builds their confidence also. In general also, it makes them more confident about things.
Yeah.
All right. So the next question is, nowadays we hear a lot, in the news, the newspapers, the MSMEs and the SMEs. What is all that?
Okay. So first of all, why it is important? Because over the years, over the decades, the MSME segment, as a definition, has got a lot of government support, right? In terms of subsidies, in terms of tax rebates, in terms of probably free land, or probably initial seed money to start their production houses, right? So over the years, because of course with the IT boom, with the internet boom, right? So for quite a few years there was confusion that how do we segregate a manufacturing unit versus a non-manufacturing unit business idea. Okay, but recently the finance minister has declared that we will not be distinguished between these two. The only definition now is that there are three layers, probably. So it is a micro enterprise, then you're a small enterprise, then you're a middle enterprise, then you actually become an enterprise. Okay. So the definition is more about that what is your turnover, right? And how much money you have raised till date. For example, if you're want to be declared as a micro enterprise, so probably आपका 5 crore तक का turnover होना चाहिए, right? ठीक है. And आपका 1 crore तक का आप money raise कर सकते हो, so you can be declared as a micro enterprise. As soon as you jump into the next level, you're called a small enterprise. Then if you cross 50 crore or 100 crore, I don't recall the exact bracket. I think it's 50 crores. If you cross the 50 crores turnover, you're called a MSME, right? So this is a good step, and at times we don't recognize it because what is the importance of it? First of all, you're actually having a graduating ladder, right? Graduating definition about your startup. That I was a small startup, I became a micro thing, I become a small business, I become a medium business, then probably I become an enterprise, right? So all those things have their own pros and cons, right? And government has been very bullish and open about supporting all the categories in different ways.
Right.
Government do have their different programs, that how they want to keep on encouraging MSMEs. So that's why there is a structure which has been laid down. And fortunately, now they have been accepting IT businesses as a core part of it. Few years back, there was a challenge. So again, I would say interesting time for you kids that, now when you step into the businesses, so there is a government who has been very supportive. There are clear regulatory, steps which have been taken, and government is open to support you in all possible ways.
Okay. And, interrelating the same thing, would you suggest some kind of courses to the students at this point of time when, they can take up entrepreneurship or anything specific that you can?
Okay, so in the start of the talk, I spoke about, empathy and mathematics and probably, storytelling, right?
Right.
Yeah. So with time, I have started embracing the fact that these are very key ingredients, around anything. In fact, recently IIT has launched a new BTech program, which is engineering and economics, which has happened for the very first time. Okay.
Engineering and I didn't
And
get you, Sameer.
Economics.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So that is the need of the hour, because if you're a good engineer, if you're able to probably, generate a good idea, but you're not able to understand the unit economics around it, you're not able to understand, how the whole thing will work, right?
Absolutely.
That, became a hurdle in the past, right? So, for example, in, probably internet business, so there have been a lot of people who would say, I can build such an awesome app, right? But they did not know that will that actually make any economic sense, right? So I would say from this point only, storytelling, of course, anytime, that's a big up, right? But to gear up, try to, my personal call is, not a lot of entrepreneurs say that, literally try to understand more of human psychology, right? So
human psychology.
So that is actually going to help you to come up with a lot of ideas. Because otherwise, what happens is, most of the times, the most common pitfall is that when somebody is trying to find a new idea, you will always talk about your surroundings. I'll talk about the pain point at my home or my office or the road I'm walking through, right? Okay, but the major point we miss while evaluating the idea is that I am not the universe, right? I am the whole world. I'm not the every user, right? I'm not every persona, right? So that means, so whatever pain point you have felt, there is a probability, and there's a high probability that it will not be a universal pain point, right? Okay. So to evaluate that one or the other ways, of course, you have to empathize. You have to, learn more ways to evaluate user psychology, human psychology, right? So earlier psychology was always looked up in a very different way. Now it's become a very critical part of the market research.
Yes. And we hear a lot about, the mental health also these days.
Exactly. That is also there, of course, So, and otherwise, if you just talk about the initial parts, so I would say, try reading more about market research, try reading more about, new trends. There are tons of courses out there who says how to win entrepreneur. Honestly, which are kind of vague at times, but at least something to start with, right? And to of course, try to learn and try to read more about how to work as a team, right? So especially this is again a second level pitfall. One is I value. Second, at time entrepreneurs start feeling that they can drive the whole thing themselves. They can start they can drive the whole thing single-handedly, which is never going to happen, right? You will have to work. You will have to work with people, right? And for that, of course, you have to learn, that how you can get along with the people, right? So that's very important.
Teamwork.
Yeah.
Great. Very insightful, Sameer, I must say that. Okay. Another interesting question that is from my side, basically, is we hear that, when we talk about startups, that, there are angel investors and the ones, who take care of the investments and all. Why are they called angels? And why are they called angel investors? If you could please clarify that for me.
So first of all, I think that's a relative definition, and then we move here when we understand the other kind of investors, right? So normally, investors are venture capitalists or institutional investors. Okay, so which are very structured companies, which are very structured teams, right? So who evaluate ideas, who have a thorough process to evaluate your startup and they
Right.
do evaluation, right? On other hand, now we
Mm-hmm.
talk about angel investors. They're more of individuals, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
Two, they are very informal investors, right? So they might or might not know you through your small network circle, your family circle, right? And they tend to invest small amounts. But these are the people who support you, who back you, who believe you at the point of your journey when nobody else is going to believe you. Okay, so
So they
because
are God sent people,
you,
basically.
you can say that, so
Yeah.
that informal behavior actually is helpful because
Hmm.
at the starting of your startup career, you are not well trained, most of the time, you're not well trained to probably have a pitch deck or probably to have a complete, I would say, a very formal, forma for the venture capitalist that how
Right.
you're going to evaluate your startup.
Hmm.
Okay, but the angel investors, so they usually don't care about those factors. Of course, they
Okay.
will talk about the numbers, right? But their decision making is way too quicker because that's an individual, the high net worth individual who has spare money, right?
Right.
And if he believes you as an entrepreneur, there's a high probability, there are high chances that they're gonna back you with initial funding.
Hmm.
And I would say that they're a very critical part. And I'm seeing lot people in even the smaller cities turning into angel investors, which is a very
Hmm.
good sign. I have
Yeah.
met people, I have met investors who are like that. I'm betting more on startups now rather than stock market, which is a huge
Hmm.
compliment.
Right. Right. Great. So they are actually, you've justified the term angel now. Great. Okay. So, Samir, last but not the least, can you tell us what is the role of education in entrepreneurship?
So education, we
Is it you need to clarify to the students that is it really important to study, because some of them say that हमने तो business करना है, and
right,
so
right.
please clarify it to them.
Yeah, so Digo, entrepreneur or no entrepreneur, education is always going to help us, right?
Right.
So the reason we all are here and interacting and having this session, and the core reason is education. Trust me, right?
Hmm.
So uh, if you really go to probably our school days, right? So I have a 15 months old kid now. So when I look up to him and when I see him, the way he's learning things, the way he's picking up things, now I'm
Right.
able to recall more of my school days. How my teachers taught me the first ABC or the mathematics or language or science or social studies, right?
Yeah.
At times probably I also would have taken this granted, but now I feel more importance about it. I feel that अगर ये वो step नहीं हो पाता तो ये step नहीं होना था.
Absolutely.
And that's
Absolutely.
very very critical, right? So education is not just about that particular piece of paper, that particular piece of degree, but it's
Hmm.
more about the learning. you know
Learn the
जो आप
journey.
yes
Yeah.
yes so जो आप अब तक सीखते आ रहे हो, because मेरे को एबीसी सिखाया गया था तो मैं पैराग्राफ लिख पा रहा हूँ,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
मैं ऐसे लिख पा रहा हूँ, मैं कोड लिख पा रहा हूँ, राइट?
Hmm.
सिमिलरली वो उसका एक बिल्कुल एक्सट्रीम एंड ऑफ द स्पेक्ट्रम है. अब
Right.
मैं उसका को अगर पर्सपेक्टिव देखूं तो दैट मींस देयर आर लॉट मोर लर्निंग कमिंग इन माय कमिंग इयर्स, राइट? मैंने अभी तक इतना ही देखा है तो मेरे को इतना ही पता है, राइट?
And I think it helps you explore your strength also and your interests also.
Yes, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Yes, that is very, because education is become more and more experience based now, right?
Right.
So
Right. Right.
I can about Chitkara University. So
Hmm.
Chitkara, I actually interact with a lot of entrepreneurs in both campuses, Punjab
Hmm.
and Himachal,
Hmm.
and I know students, so who are being supported by university. That okay, please carry on with the education.
Right.
Whatever
Yes.
support is required, we will help you with that.
Yes.
That way both the goals are being sufficed, which is again very forward looking from the educational institute's perspective. So they are no longer being very fussy about the fact that okay, आपको exam देना है तो आप ये छोड़ दो, right? ठीक है. Universities have
Which
been,
is a very big support for a student.
it's a big step,
Yes.
socially as well. Parents have been
Absolutely.
supportive.
Hmm.
Parents are backing their kids and they're no
Hmm.
longer worrying about their रिश्तेदार्स. That अगर मेरा बच्चा एक साल delay भी करता है तो
Hmm.
what is society gonna say? So that is changing in a big way, which is a very optimistic sign. And
Great.
another practical aspect, which I have realized over years, so education also gives you a huge network at times. Yesterday I was talking to a guy, I can't name the startup. So he's actually, a CTO of that big startup. It's almost $1 billion startup now, right? And he's a Chitkara guy, right?
Okay.
So, and that now my university network has really helped me, right? I also try to help, my fellow, university students at times. But in this case, that has also helped me. So that network will also help you over the years, because you will actually, keep on meeting. You'll actually make a lot of good friends, you'll actually meet a lot of good minds over your journey, right?
Right.
You do school time, you do university time, or probably do your courses time. So that is another practical aspect of it. At times we don't talk about it from society perspective कि हम education को networking point of view से कैसे देखेंगे, but trust me, it is a very practical aspect. So
Right.
if you,
We hear a lot about, two school time friends becoming business partners or, together starting a new business venture or something. So
exactly.
definitely, it plays a big role. The network definitely plays a big role in it.
IIT has a huge culture. IIT Delhi especially has a huge culture where they do a lot of ideas exchange across their batches, across their fellow batchmates. They have been hiring among their batchmates.
Right,
They have a
right.
huge open culture about it. And trust me, one side is for sure. It is education is not going to hurt you. Education. There are too many upside and plus points. So I can't even think about the fact that why not education.
Right, right. Great. Thank you, Samir, for such an insightful, vision that you've shared with our students. I can see a lot of questions popping up on the screen. This shows that, my audience has really been engaged. And if you allow me, then I would like to share some of the questions, if you could answer them.
Yeah.
All right. So the first question is by Monica Singh. Good morning, sir. Sir, I wanted to ask that from where did you get inspiration? Wow, we would also like to know from where did you get the inspiration?
Okay, so my journey, I would not say that I was highly inspired for the idea initially. Okay, and in my journey, I just wanted to do coding at one point of time. Because when I started my career, I was into technology, but I was not coding enough. Okay, so for my initial reason for jumping into startup world was I just wanted to code. I just wanted to build a product. And
Right.
that's why now I emphasize a lot on psychology and economics, because I lacked it. So I was very bullish about the ideas. I'm very bullish about the technology, but I was not made aware of the economics behind it. I was not made aware or trained about the user psychology about the products. The initial motivation was definitely I just wanted to code. I just wanted to build a product. That's it.
All right. Okay, so the next question is by Dhanashekharan, RD Dhanashekharan. Please tell me this. Sorry. Yeah. How was your experience as an entrepreneur for working in Paytm?
Okay, so it was amazing experience. If I have to just say it in one liner, okay, because when we sold our first startup and the company was owned by Paytm, so till try deal, which was of course my first stint as non-tech, role, because till that point in time, like I said, I'm just coding, right? So try deal was the first stint of mine as more of a business owner, right? After that, till that point we were just 16 people team. So when I got acquired, so Little was around 600 people team. Okay. And we were doing certain number, we were doing some action. It was good, amazing experience. But when I landed in Paytm, right? So on day one, I was given a team of 400 people. And I was told that, we should be doing 100 crores month run rate in about 3 months. Right.
Wow.
And I was almost 8 years experience at one time. And for a few seconds, I doubted myself. कि क्या ये हो भी सकता है? But that's a charm of Paytm kind of company. Yeah, they have created such an environment that we were actually sitting on 100 crore monthly revenue after 3 months.
Wonderful.
Right?
Wonderful.
So
Great.
Paytm, I would always say that's one of the best experiences I have got during my 12, 13 years of my career.
All right. Great. So, moving on to the next question, that is by Kanan Kapoor. If we build up any idea, does that mean we are becoming an entrepreneur? Very interesting. Yeah. So, we would like to know about it. Yeah.
So again, so very subjective.
Yeah.
Yeah. So same way I explained it earlier, right? So yes, you can call yourself an entrepreneur if you are building an idea.
Hmm.
One-liner definition is that. But don't do anything just for the sake of being called an entrepreneur, right?
Right.
So try to run after a particular problem, try to run after a particular pain point, and I can assure you, you will be surprised at your own self the way you will be able to figure out the solutions on the journey, right?
Hmm.
So that journey is something which really makes you and entitles you to be called an entrepreneur. Otherwise, yes, you can always put up on your Facebook profile that I idea and I'm an entrepreneur.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, the status update. Okay. All right. So, moving on to the next question. The next question is by Sanchi. What was your mission at the outset?
Mm, okay, can we elaborate this? I didn't get that.
I think she's trying to ask that, with what mission did you start your journey as an entrepreneur?
Initial mind was just to code, right?
Hmm.
But of course, with time, that has matured, and hopefully that will mature even more.
Hmm.
If I talk about my current mindset, the current mission statement, so we really want to empower small businesses. We really want to, kind of handhold those non-tech small businesses who have been kind of suffering because of the big tech giants. So our current focus is a lot on restaurants, groceries, small retail stores.
Hmm.
What PM Modi has recently started calling, local pay vocal. I think we have been doing it for
Yeah.
the last 2 years now. So
Yes. Make in India
make
and
India. So
right.
that's what we have been doing for 2 years. The slogan
Yeah.
probably just came out.
Mhm.
So we as a company, we have a common mission as a single mission that we want to empower small businesses with right tech solution at a very low cost. While sitting in a tier 2 city like Chandigarh.
Wonderful. So you also emphasizing on sustainability.
Yes. Yeah. So
Great.
yeah. So because again, that's a macro belief that I have, and during this whole COVID situation, that belief has even become stronger. For years, I have been advocating that we need to have more and more cities in India which are
Hmm.
independent, right?
Hmm.
Okay, now we call it Atmanirbhar, right?
Yes.
PM Modi. So because if you really look at 70 years in India, so just the four cities have been thriving. More and more population has been migrating to those four cities: Delhi,
Right.
Bangalore, Hyderabad, Kolkata, probably.
Yeah.
So five now. Okay.
Hmm.
So, but that is not going to help, right? So we really have a need to have more and more independent cities, and that can only happen if we really have right jobs in those cities, if we really have right resources in those cities, if we really have right opportunities in those cities, right? So that is
All
an
right.
indirect goal of our company, where first of all we want to remain a tier 2 city, yes,
Mm-hmm.
and we want to enable those tier 3 tier 4 city businesses with
Mm-hmm.
technology जो उनको कभी भी नहीं मिल पाएगा otherwise, and they will always lack that opportunity, and somebody big will come and probably eat them out. So
Yeah.
that's a very long term vision, but
Hmm.
hopefully we'll be able to contribute something to it.
Great. All right. There's another question. I think we've already taken this question in the beginning also. What we have to do of becoming an entrepreneur? I think empathy, storytelling, all that was taken care of. That was by Grant. The next question is entrepreneurship all about making money? This is by Parth Sethi.
So, Pak, no, it is not, all about making money. That is for sure. And that is something, that belief of mine has become stronger over time. Uh,
Hmm.
if you really, of course, we don't run a charity. We are not an NGO, definitely. We are a business, right?
Hmm.
But if you're really going after an idea just for the money, trust me, you will burn out very soon. If you don't have a right mission, if you don't have, a bigger goal, which is bigger than the money itself, you will burn out very easily. Because
Right.
as an individual, trust me, at certain point of time in your life, you started realizing that, okay, there is only enough things which, money can buy, right?
Hmm.
And you really want to be more meaningful in the society.
Right. Great. Okay, Samir, so next question is very interesting that bounces back on you.
Yeah.
Why do we have to be a storyteller to be an entrepreneur? This is by Anvita Mahajan.
Yeah, interesting one, Anita. So I mean, definitely, because like I said, every day when I wake up, right? Okay, and I'm pretty sure that must be happening with every one of you. We look around, हम सोचते हैं यार ये idea अच्छा है, ये idea अच्छा है, ये मैं
Hmm.
सोच सकता हूँ, right? ठीक है. But if I don't have words, if I don't have ways, if I don't have a platform to showcase that,
Hmm.
okay, so that is useless. That is zero, right? Okay. So for those reasons, storytelling is very important. Okay. If you have an idea and you can't, tell it to people, you can't say that, okay, this is my idea. This is how it's gonna help you. This is how it's gonna change the things. So
Hmm.
people will not be able to relate to that. And trust me, in new age internet marketing, all those marketing channels are more about storytelling now, because
Hmm.
मार्केटिंग करना अब सबके लिए इजी हो गया है. फेसबुक
Hmm.
पे और गूगल पे हर कोई एक पंच करके ऐड चला सकता है.
Right, right.
Differentiator will you be able to tell a better story as compared to your competitors?
Hmm.
Okay, so
Great.
at every juncture of your entrepreneurial journey, storytelling will always remain very critical. For selling it to investor, for selling it to your customers, for
Hmm.
motivating your team members, for motivating your co-founders, it will always help you.
Right. Samir, also to add to it, does communication skills also play an important role in storytelling?
Yes, definitely. For me, probably both of these things go hand in hand.
Right,
And
right.
again, when I talk about storytelling communication,
Hmm.
I highly emphasize it is not about Angrezi. Trust me,
Right.
it is more
Any
about,
language that you're comfortable in, but very confident about it.
yeah, it has to make sense. It has to be articulated. That's it.
Absolutely.
And that's very important.
Hmm.
And because I have met founders, I have met people who have shied away from coming to a stage because they could not speak good Angrezi.
Right.
Trust me, don't hesitate. Of course, you guys are in Chitkara, so I don't have to worry about it. But still, even if you're not able to speak fluent English, please don't worry, right?
Yeah.
So our first language is not English, so you don't have to be worried about it, or you don't have to shy away from the fact.
Great. All right. So moving on to the next question. The next question is by Shalok Sharma.
Yeah.
Sir, my father says to accept the failure gracefully. So, sir, please tell us your experience in such conditions to know better about failure.
Yeah. So yes, that's very important. Because देखो जब आप एक स्टार्टअप करते हो, राइट, ठीक है. So like I said, why startup and business are different? Because business is a proven playbook, okay, and you're gonna scale up a playbook which is already proven. But in a startup, you are the one who's gonna create that playbook, okay. और वो playbook तब तक create नहीं होगा जब तक enough experiments नहीं करोगे. अगर आप बहुत सारे experiments कर रहे हो, there's a high probability that you're going to fail at multiple junctures,
Hmm.
right? And if you're not able to handle those failures, it's simply not going to help you. You have to embrace it, so because वो जो मेंटल स्ट्रेंथ है वो आपको डे वन से ही लेके चलना है, राइट, ठीक है. यू हैव टू have a faith in yourself. It's okay, you tried, that's what you could do, so
Right.
in especially Indian society, failure has been overrated a lot of ways. कि नंबर कम आए, आप मैच हार गए, राइट,
Hmm.
आप डेक्लेमेशन कॉन्टेस्ट में फर्स्ट नहीं आए,
Right.
so I don't think so. That's really important. The is important. You can just do your best. If somebody is better than you, somebody is better than you. It's as simple as that. All you can do is just try to improve yourself for the future. You can't just
Okay.
keep on looking back in the past and killing yourself that there was a failure and now I can't do anything. There will be failure that should today itself. कभी भी ऐसा नहीं होगा कि आपने 100 आइडियाज ट्राई किए और 100 के क्लिक किए.
Right.
तो आपको डे वन पे ही लेके चलना पड़ेगा. एंड पर्सनली मेरे को क्या लगता है, माय जर्नी, my creating is helped a lot for that. You know, so because as a sportsman, of course, I have lost tons of matches, right? I have won tons of matches, right? So वो same philosophy has helped me in my startup career as well. You know, you win some, you lose some, but you have to
Right.
keep on marching.
Absolutely. Great. All right. So we're going to take last few questions. And the next question is by our Honorable Principal, Dr. Niyati Chitkara. Do you think online education should continue post-COVID situation? What's your take on that?
Okay. So, to some extent, yes, it really helps, right? But of course, I think education will always be more about the experience, right? And because जो remote education है, online education है, that will always lack some of the factors, right? You know, that personalization factor, you know, the way our teachers have been helping us over the years to shape up, you know, because when you're spending probably, 6 to 7 hours within a school versus, you know, you are in front of a window for probably half an hour class and you switch off, you get back to your normal life, you know. So वो सारी चीजें कभी भी fulfill online education से नहीं हो पाएंगी, right? So I really recall a conversation with Chitkara ma'am, you know. So I remember during my BTech days, a lot of other courses were there, and Chitkara University was very strict. They were very rigid that, you know, it has to be a 9 to 4 kind of thing. And
Right.
my friends in other colleges used to make fun of us. ये आपका कैसा कॉलेज है, आपको बाहर नहीं आने देता, you know. But when I joined my corporate career, or now when I'm probably running a business, I feel more importance about it. That taught me a lot of discipline. You know, that
Right.
taught me to be, around people for those 7 hours every day,
Right.
or 9 hours every day. You know,
Yes.
because end of the day, everything is about people. You're gonna be interacting with people all the time. On education मेरे को लगता है कि वो कुछ factors हैं जो कभी भी fulfill नहीं हो पाएंगे, at least as of now. I don't know, probably tomorrow the AR becomes very powerful and are able to wear some goggles and you are able to be virtually in university, you know, the whole day. But that's a
Right.
long shot. But for now, I believe that yes, it can fulfill certain things, but it can't replace the experience.
Right. Okay, so we'll take up, because of the time constraint, another last two questions. This question is by Akrit Sharma. Can someone from a designing and content creation background enter the startup world?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
There is no such rule, right? You know, so in fact, we run one content startup, and I know why. Just tech is not going to help it, because eventually technology will keep on becoming cheaper and cheaper. You'll be
Right.
able to launch more apps, more websites with just click of buttons, right? So then again, the things will become more about the content, right? Become more about the storytelling. It will become more about the communication. You know, so
Right.
content design, it's going to be huge coming years.
Great. So last question is by Aryan. Sir, what drawbacks happened in your life when you were starting this startup?
Drawbacks. I can't call it drawbacks, but yes. So one thing was definitely that there was no structured mentoring program. I was really lucky that Chitkara University backed me at that point of time. And I remember my meeting with Dr. Ashok Chitkara, very informal meeting. And then Mr. Mohit Chitkara that, we are starting a new thing and let's just do it together. That's how the thing really happened for me. Okay, I was very lucky in that, I would say. Otherwise, I miss the factor that my school was not as proactive as Chitkara school or other schools, around us. We did not have any mentoring program that how we should start up, how we should build a business, how we should acquire a user, how we should validate my idea first of all. right?
Right.
I really miss those factors. But yes, that's how you overcome challenges. That's how the whole thing improvises.
Great. So I am so happy to see so many questions popping up, but my apologies that we would not be able to ask all the questions right now, but we will be addressing all the questions through the mail. And before we sign off, I would thank Mr. Samir. Thank you, Samir, for enlightening us. Thank you for sparing so much time for our students and all the entire audience who's watching us. Thank you so much. We are really, really honored that you were here with us today.
No, it's a
And
pleasure.
thank you, everybody. Yeah. Please, Samir, what would be your closing statements?
No, I think pleasure is all mine. I'm really glad to be, conversing with all you guys. And I really wish that if we can, or I can personally help, all the Chitkara students in any possible way to probably start showcasing their talent and ideas, or
Wow.
probably help them to shape up their ideas in longer run. I'll be more than happy to contribute for that cause.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Any message for the school students, Samir?
I think there's already a lot what parents have been saying or probably teachers would have been saying. So I can't add much to it. But yes, I would say just be optimistic, just keep on marching forward. All this COVID situation has taught us that we really have to be thankful of what we all have, and we have to look forward, to keep on building more value for the society.
Right. All right. Thank you, Samir. And thank you, audience, for being with us. And thank you for your participation during this webinar. We'll see you for another session very soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you.